Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 9 Monday Night Showdown is here. The game between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. Big over $1 million. I think it's 11111 is the prize pool. $1,111,111 prize pool with $250,000 to first on DraftKings. You guys know the drill in terms of Showdown. You pick 6 players. One of them is going to be your captain. He is going to cost and score 1.5x. And you're just going to get after it. I always play this game like just casually, right? I play Monday Night Football. I play the Showdown slates very casually. But I do take them seriously. I just don't play as much as I do on the weekends on a main slate, whether it's a main slate of NBA, a main slate of NFL on a Sunday. That's really where I focus to try and make money. That's where the biggest prize pools are. And obviously you have less of a chance for overlap and splitting a prize pool if you happen to bank a tournament. Like we took down one of the tournaments earlier this year, and I think 700 other people tied for first that night as one of the most common lineups that was overlapped across the 150 that I built that night was the lineup that ended up winning. It was the Rams when Cooper Kupp and Gerald Everett ended up scoring up a lot of points in the final drive, and everybody split the money. So you don't make all that much. So if you have a unique lineup, which is the hardest thing to do on a Showdown slate, whether it's by leaving a lot of money or having a unique player that scores a bunch of points to get you all the way to the top, that's how you can really win a ton of money on Showdown. But as I said, really high variance game mode. I prefer to take it casually and play it for fun, just to have something to talk about while I'm watching the game. And if you're a more serious player and you say, look, I can beat Showdown, this is my specialty, then by all means go at it. I'm just talking about how I play it pretty casually. So before we get into anything else, did want to talk for a second about the good folks over at Daily Roto. Go check them out. There's a link down below in the description at the bottom of the page. They do a great job with projections. They have a fantastic optimizer that you can use across 5 different sports with NBA and NFL overlap season here. They also do a great job with college football, NHL, and golf. Go check them out and use promo code SMIZLIFE at checkout or one of the links down below if you want to give them a shot. So looking at this game, obviously the Cowboys and the Giants, there's one thing that everybody's going to expect me to say, and it's that Jason Witten just destroys the Giants. I don't know how viable he is in a single game Showdown slate, but let's just take a look at what we have. And please, if you would be so kind, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell. You guys know the whole rigmarole, the whole spiel. It's 2019. I shouldn't have to tell you that. Obviously, you do get your free 1,000 internet points if you do click that, and 2,000 free internet points if you subscribe. Jeff Bezos will be personally delivering those to your door via Amazon Prime. So, highest priced player on the slate is Ezekiel Elliott. He is not the highest projected player on the slate from a medium projection, but he does have one of the higher ceilings. And we've seen him get to 29 fantasy points the last 2 weeks, as now we're seeing the Zeke that we saw the last 2 years. One game against the Jets, yes, they're just bad, fine, but the Philadelphia Eagles do have that solid front seven, and Cowboys just ran all over them. Ezekiel Elliott with 11 catches over the last 2 weeks. That was the realm that he sat in last year, where he was getting 25 plus touches, the most volume of any running back in 2018 in the league. He's not going to get to that point this year because of the couple of games that he missed early and how slowly they worked him back in, right? They weren't giving him 25 plus touches pretty much except for one game against Washington in week 2. But now we're seeing that they're feeding Zeke the ball and they're getting it to him in the passing game. So really high floor for Zeke and a really high ceiling, especially if you can afford to put him at captain. And I think there's enough value on this slate to be able to do it with a couple of players that we'll talk about later. Saquon Barkley, same sort of a guy as Zeke, but doesn't get the volume that Zeke gets. Theoretically a better pass catcher than Zeke, right? He grades out from a scout's perspective as a better pass catcher, but I don't care about talent when it comes to fantasy football as much as I care about opportunity. And Ezekiel Elliott's had better opportunity than Saquon Barkley this year. Barkley down at 19.9 fantasy points per game on average on the season, but he still does have 30 plus point potential in him. He does have to score touchdowns this year to be able to do it. He's not the type of guy that they're going to give the ball to 20 plus times a game on the ground, right? Whereas Ezekiel Elliott, you should get 21 to 27 carries on a week in, week out basis, plus that usage in the passing game. Saquon Barkley typically sits between 15 and 20 carries and then can get you 5, 6, 8 catches in a game on top of that. So he can get you 25 touches. They just come in a different way, whereas he can get you 25 to 30 on a more regular basis. So considering that they're about the same price, I prefer Ezekiel Elliott in this spot, but I still will have shares of Saquon Barkley in this game, as he is an absolute monster player and can break one open at any time, right? Just like we saw from Christian McCaffrey on the main slate on Sunday. Oh, he's doing okay. He's fine. He's not killing you. He's 10K. Like, he doesn't have like 40 points. Oh, yeah, he just broke a 70-yard touchdown, and now he's got 40 fantasy points, and you had to have him. Dak Prescott's going to be your guy that grades out as the highest median projection, because quarterbacks typically do. But I like to limit my quarterbacks in my allocations across my 150 because of historically quarterbacks aren't usually the captain. A quarterback can win you a single game showdown slate, and the guy who can do it is a guy like Dak, because he does have the ability to run the football. Both of these quarterbacks do on this slate, with Danny Dimes, or whatever you want to call him, Daniel Jones, not really respected as much for his legs as I think he should be. The kid can actually scoot a little bit, and if he can connect with his wide receivers, fine. But Dak Prescott coming in at a higher price point, and we know that he's had 6 rushing touchdowns each of the last 3 years. He's on pace for that as well this year, with 3 touchdowns so far at the midway mark. If he has one of those nights, and the Giants defense is one that can allow him to have one of those nights where he connects deep with somebody like Amari Cooper, he connects deep with Michael Gallup, possibly runs one in, or Zeke takes one as well. So that means 2 through the air, 1 through the ground. If he gets that 300-yard bonus, that's a way that he can get you that W at your captain spot. But as always, we do have to talk about correlation. It is one of the very important things when it comes to Showdown. So if I'm building a Dak Prescott lineup, I'm going to build a group with all of his pass catchers. And to me, I don't always do this, but to me, that it does include Ezekiel Elliott. They're not as negatively correlated as some other running backs with their quarterback. I will be including Zeke Elliott in my Dak Prescott at captain groups, as well as every other pass catcher on Dallas. And I'm going to make sure that the optimizer spits out 2 of these guys. And yes, I'm going to be including Jason Witten in that group too, as historically Jason Witten has just shredded the Giants. Just go look up the stats versus the team. Obviously, it's a different Jason Witten. He's not being utilized the same way that he used to, but he has been solid this year. And at the price, he's not terrible for a showdown slate, right? If he does find his way into the end zone, he's going to pay off massively. And when you stack him with his quarterback, that's fine. Also, bringing it back, I'm going to be using everybody on, or building a group that uses every single player on the Giants, including the quarterback. So Barkley, Jones, Engram, Golden Tate. And Golden Tate, since he's come back, I did want to talk about him. Evan Engram is a tight end that you guys know that I absolutely adore in terms of season long and daily fantasy, because of the volume that he gets at the position was somewhat rare. And we thought that there were like 2, 3, maybe 4 tight ends that were going to get that type of usage this year. And it turns out that there's like 7 or 8, and Ingram's one of them. And he's not getting the usage that he got last year in the absence of somebody like Odell Beckham Jr. Obviously, the quarterback switch kind of changes that a little bit to Daniel Jones. But look at Golden Tate's usage since he came back. 6 targets in his first game, 9 in his second, 11, 10, getting absolutely fantastic volume, but still only sitting at 6,800 because he only found the end zone once. 7,800 is what you got to pay for Engram. Now, if this was a different slate, if this was a main slate where I have to figure out, okay, this is a wide receiver and there's a lot of different wide receivers that I got to play with, and then a tight end that only has 1 out there, and then you're building a lineup in terms of 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. Totally different story than in Showdown. All I care about is points per dollar and the ability to give me some touchdown equity. And if I've got a guy in Engram who is ridiculously talented, but sitting at 1,000 more than someone else who's been getting much better volume over the past month consistently, and these aren't the same type of targets that Golden Tate saw before. He's had a 20-yard catch in 2 of those 4 games, an 18-yard catch in the other one. He's not being utilized as just basically a glorified handoff to a wide receiver. He's actually challenging a little bit more down the field due to the arm strength of Daniel Jones and the way that this offense is being run this year. So I don't normally see myself as saying this, but I definitely, like, this is not an Al Smizzle typical statement, but I prefer Golden Tate to Evan Engram this week, and that really felt weird for me to say, but I felt that I had to say it. So this stack with Dak Prescott, this is not a stack, this is a group that I'm going to build that forces at least one of every Giant player. And like I said, there's a couple of other Giant players that I did want to talk about. So Rhett Ellison, people are going to jump on this because they're going to remember this one game against Arizona where he caught the touchdown, and you know, and Engram didn't against Arizona, who's given up so many touchdowns to opposing tight ends. I don't think that this is the route to go. I think that it's fool's gold. But there is one player that I do think is viable at 800 as a super value play. Cody Latimer. He's not going to get you much, right? You don't need 20 out of Cody Latimer at 800, but he's going to be able to open up a lot of things for you in this offense and does not really need all that much. If he catches 2 or 3 footballs in this game, he's going to pay off that salary and allow you to really jam in a whole bunch of other guys on your team. Now, I'm not saying that he's a captain play for me, but erasing that flex play, right? Erasing that group that we were building. If we have Cody Latimer in a lineup, we now have 9,800 to build the rest of this team with. If we put one other somewhat value play in here, it pushes that even further. So if we have Golden Tate, now we can afford basically everything that we want. Obviously, the cover boy for me this week is Amari Cooper, as I think outside of Ezekiel Elliott, he is the one that can tear the roof off of this game. His stats since being traded to Dallas have been otherworldly, and it's everything that we wanted from Amari Cooper for his entire career, based on his athleticism and his route running and his potential, and was so up and down, and it was such a roller coaster for him while he was on the Raiders, that he was somebody that you could never really trust. And he was somebody that if he was the chalk, you faded him. If nobody was playing him that week, that was when you would be interested, because the floor to ceiling difference was so drastic when he played for the Raiders. Now, outside of this game against the Jets, where they lost 18 points, 42 points, 26 points, 14 points, 25 points, the volume has been consistent week in, week out for the entire season. And the pair against the New York Giants pass defense is absolutely prime for Amari Cooper. So he's somebody that I want to get in, and I can plug him in the captain spot here and still leave 9,100 average price per player coming back. Obviously, if I've got a wide receiver from a team, I want to have his captain in that lineup, or his quarterback in that lineup. I'm going to probably want to have Ezekiel Elliott in that lineup as well. I've got 2 Giants, I've got 3 players on Dallas, and I still have 5,400 remaining to come back with the Cowboys defense or Witten. Probably not Slayton, probably not Cobb, maybe one of the kickers, whatever you want to do there. There's a lot of different things that we can do on this slate. And it looks like a fun game. Obviously, the Giants and the Cowboys has historically been a very good matchup, a very fun game to watch. And I think that playing Showdown with it is just going to make it just a little bit better. So thank you guys for joining. I appreciate you being here. Drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel. Be sure that you ring that notifications bell, because I'm going to be coming out with a ton of videos this week, and I don't want you to miss any one of them. So best of luck in the Monday Night Showdown tonight, and I will catch up to you later. Till the next video. Bye.
He's a legend.